A House Intelligence panel releasing a report on the so-called Havana Syndrome. Now, this is that mysterious illness suffered by U.S. national security officials. The panel finding this, quote, there is reliable evidence to suggest that some anomalous health incidents are the work of foreign adversaries. Sadly, the intelligence community has actively attempted to impede our investigation. Joining us now, Republican Congressman Rick Crawford of Arkansas. He's the chair of the House Intel CIA subcommittee. Congressman, welcome to the show. I found that to be a surprising conclusion here. The suggestion that the Intel community not only didn't get this right, but they in some way hindered you from trying to figure it out.
Yeah, that's an ongoing problem. We see that, throughout the government when congressional committees request information, oftentimes it's delayed, denied, and we don't get it. And then when we finally do get it, it may be highly redacted, and for no reason. Look, I serve on the House Permanent Select Committee on Intelligence. We oversee the intelligence community. When we ask for documents, this is not like the Washington Times asking for documents. This is the organization that oversees your organization. And so for that to be denied to us in itself is problematic. And then what we found when we were ultimately able to lift those redactions was even more troubling.
So this is a quote from the 2023 DNI. This is what the Intel community had found prior. They said this: most intelligence community agencies have concluded that it is, quote, very unlikely that a foreign adversary is responsible for these reported incidents. You found differently. So why did you find differently, and what do you think they got wrong?
Well, what we found differently is that as we dove into this issue, that we found that there had been overt attempts by management to basically drive a narrative through that analysis. That is to say, here's our statement. Now go forth and support our statement. It wasn't about asking those analysts to give us the ground truth. It was about, here's what we want to say, and we want you to help support that narrative. And the evidence that we have supports that. It's troubling, and we've seen this happen before. We've seen it happen with the Russia hoax case. We've seen it happen with the COVID origins case. And what we have, I think, in the IC is a systemic problem with using analysts for effect. You can't have that. We need ground truth. Our decision makers rely on that information to make the best decisions they can to secure our country and to make our foreign service officers safe. And when we fail that, we fail them and we fail our country.
Okay, so with this report in mind and what you just said there about the Intel community, what happens next? Where do we go? I mean, what are the changes that you think may be sparked in a new administration or as a result of this kind of report?
Well, and you just touched on it right there. We will continue this investigation. That's point number one, is that there is sufficient evidence to warrant the continuation of this investigation indefinitely. That's number one. Number two, my biggest concern is the folks who have been denied health care. And there's a significant number of people in the IC and in the DOD, even White House personnel, State Department personnel, who in many cases are out of their own pocket paying for their health care for these incidents. And then there are a number of folks who either have been dissuaded from reporting an incident or who have had career problems as a result of it, because there has been sort of a widespread attitude in the IC that this is nothing to see here, and if you say anything about it, then maybe you're a problem child, or you're just trying to get out of an assignment or something like that. All of these things can be true at the same time. I have no doubt that there are folks that might use this as a tool to, redirect an assignment or whatever. That's not the problem. The very real problem is that these AHI attacks are documented to have existed and that the IC didn't take it seriously.
Well, and it also seems there's now documentation, and this has long been a conversation in Washington, that there is tension between the intelligence community, between lawmakers who have some oversight of them. How does that get resolved? Because it's for the good of the American people to make sure that everybody can work together.
100%. And we want to trust our intelligence community. We need to trust our intelligence community, and that's why it's so important that we restore this collaborative effort to work together. It's our responsibility on behalf of the American people to oversee these agencies, yes. It's their responsibility to be honest and forthright with us. If they don't have an answer, just tell me you don't have an answer. We can live with that, but what we can't live with is the deception, the subterfuge that exists too often among agencies that we have the responsibility to oversee. And that is what we have to fix, and I'm confident that the incoming administration will will take that same perspective.
All right, Congressman Rick Crawford, thank you for your time today. And just